Hello everybody, Lurgs here, welcome to my channel, and today it's the LAY-Z-SPA running costs. So this is how much it costs to actually fill it up with water, how much it costs to run it, how much to have the heating on, how much to have the water filtration system on, and how much it costs when you've actually got the bubbles on. And this is on a LAY-Z-SPA Bahamas, which is a 4-person spa. And then after I've taken you through the running costs, I'll just take you through a few quick tips just to help keep your LAY-Z-SPA water in really good condition. Right. Let's get cracking. Well, in a minute. And just to note that all costs are quoted at current rates in 2024. The first cost will be filling it up with water. As long as you haven't got a hose pipe ban, the LAY-Z-SPA Bahamas model, which is a 4-person spa, holds 669 litres. And at current rates, 1,000 litres costs about £3, so this is going to cost about £2 to fill up. If you've got access to a hot tap, you could of course fill it up with hot water. That will cost you more to fill it, but less to heat it once it's filled. The next thing you'll need is multifunction chlorine tablets. These go in your flotation device or Chem Connect device. I got a tub of 50 of these for £15. These tend to last about a week depending on your chlorine strength device. What you'll also need on a regular basis is brand new filters. These vary in price from about £2.50 each to £5 each, depending on whether you bulk buy or not. These generally last about 1 to 2 weeks depending on usage, and there is a way that you can clean your filters to save some cash. I'll put a link in the description. Right, now let's get on to the running costs. Obviously this is a very old electricity meter. Most people will have smart meters, and we'll work it out on the basis that 1 kilowatt an hour costs about 50p. That's 1,000 watts of electricity. Just a little tip, when you're heating your LAY-Z-SPA, make sure you keep the cover on. That just helps it heat up quicker. Any direct sunlight on your LAY-Z-SPA will degrade it over time, so it's definitely worth putting a cover on it if it's in direct sunlight. That will help it last longer. Right, let's get on to the running costs. At the moment, the heater is not on because it's green. We've just got the water filtration device on. And if you put your hand over it, you can feel the water coming out. The water filtration device, which keeps your water clean through the filter, runs at about 50 watts, so this will cost you about 2p an hour, so not much at all. If we then turn the temperature of the water up, I'm going to select 37 degrees centigrade. Now the heating is on and the water filtration system. And if you put your hand down by the heater, you'll feel hot water coming out of there. So the water filtration is 50 watts and the heating is 2,000 watts. That's 2 kilowatts. So that will cost about £1 an hour while it's running. And of course, once it reaches the set temperature, the heating will go off. If we then turn the heating off and the water filtration system and just run the bubbles, this is 800 watts. And this will cost about 40p per hour. Just bear in mind this will significantly lower the temperature of your water, especially if the ambient temperature outside is cold. We now turn the bubbles off, we've got nothing running at all, and when there's nothing running, there's no running cost at all. So if it's a nice hot sunny day, you can just chill out in your LAY-Z-SPA with no costs involved. But I do recommend you always have the water filtration system on when you're in it. What we'll do now is put everything on, so the heating, the water filtration system and the bubbles. Now when the bubbles are on, the heating element is greatly reduced, so it's reduced down to about 1200 watts. So the LAY-Z-SPA won't use any more than about 2 kilowatts with everything on, and that will work out a total cost of about £1.62 per hour. And now I'll just take you through some top tips to keep your water in super clean condition. And this is especially important if you live in a hard water area. And clean water means your heating unit runs more efficiently. It's much more enjoyable if you're in your LAY-Z-SPA and the water's in really nice condition, nice and clear, because once it gets all murky like this, no one's going to want to go in that. Right, let's get cracking. Tip 1. Ideally, before anyone gets in your LAY-Z-SPA, it's a great idea to have a shower. This just washes off any deodorants, any skin creams, sun cream, fake tans, things like that, which can murk up your water and make it pretty disgusting very quickly. Tip 2 is just to lay a towel next to your LAY-Z-SPA and make sure that before anyone gets in the LAY-Z-SPA that they just wipe their feet just to get rid of any bits of dirt and grit which can get onto your feet just before you climb in. Tip 3, ideally anybody with long hair, that should be tied up, because if long hair gets in the filter, that can block it up very quickly. Tip 4, if it's absolutely lashing down with rain, it's not a good idea to spend time in your LAY-Z-SPA because every droplet of rain has a bit of dirt in it. So unless you've got a gazebo type cover over the top of your LAY-Z-SPA, it's not a good idea to go in it when it's raining. Tip 5, it's a good idea to get out any debris from the water if you can see it. I've just got this sieve which I keep. You can buy accessory cleaning packs, but I just use this to get out any insects, bits of leaves, any dirt that's just floating around or underneath the water. And that's a good idea just to help keep your water nice and clean. If you've got an underwater vacuum cleaner, even better, you can use that. LAY-Z-SPA do actually make an official underwater vacuum cleaner. Tip 6, which is really important, if you've got a Chem Connect device or a floating device, make sure that the chlorine tablet is always topped up. Never let that get completely empty. And there's a link above now about how to use the Chem Connect device on this LAY-Z-SPA. You can buy these test strips, which is an easy way to check the chemical levels in your LAY-Z-SPA, and then you can adjust the chlorine levels using your Chem Connect device. Tip number 7, make sure you change your filter regularly. Having a clean, fresh filter will really help keep your water nice and clean. And I recommend putting in a brand new one every couple of weeks. This is what a dirty filter looks like, and this is a brand new clean one. You can wash these filters a few times to save you money, and there's a link above now about how to do that. Tip number 8, if you live in a hard water area, it's a really good idea to use this stain and scale controller liquid for your LAY-Z-SPA. This prevents scale build-up from hard water, which can clog up your heating unit. It also helps remove stains, and it keeps your water nice and soft. So if you live in a hard water area, I definitely recommend using this and putting in a weekly dose. And there's a link above now about how to use this. Tip 9, when you're not using your LAY-Z-SPA, make sure that you always put the lid on. This stops any dirt getting in there, leaves, flies, insects, things like that. And I highly recommend as well using a thermal cover. That really helps retain the heat. And there's a link above now where I review the official LAY-Z-SPA thermal cover. Tip number 10, always leave the water filtration system running. This is only very low wattage, about 50 watts, but this helps keep your water really clean because it's constantly pumping the water through the filter system. So even when you're not using it, always leave this on. And tip number 11, every 2 to 3 months you will need to empty the LAY-Z-SPA and replace it with fresh water. And there's a link above now about how to do that. That is a pretty simple process.
How the hell did we end up in the 80s?
I don't know. Must be some kind of hot tub time machine. Up here is a video on how to adjust the Chem Connect strength, that's the chlorine strength in your spa. Up here is how to add additional air if it starts getting a little bit soggy. And down here is how to clean your filters and save a bit of cash. Thanks for visiting my channel everyone, I really appreciate it.